Okay, let's start with the big one. We'll start with the big one first. This is the one that everyone's talking about. This is the one that obviously I was the most sad with, which is that VIPER has joined HLE. Look, VIPER, all I'm telling you is last time you joined HLE, they probably promised you a good team. You guys were like what was your score? 1-14. Let me see. Sorry, they were 2-16. Yeah, they play 18 series. Sorry, so it couldn't be 1-15. I think they were 1-15 at a point. Let me see. HLE. Yeah, they were 1-15 up until the last week where they were able to pull together a 1-1. So they ended 2-16 when he was on HLE the last time. We're getting the rumored roster now. So the first thing they locked in was VIPER. We don't know their support officially, and we don't know their jungler officially. But Zika and Kingen are going to be the solo lane. So DK, or sorry, I don't know why I said DK. DK is signing Deft. It's right here. DRX is just like, they just blew up the team. You know, they got that championship. They're like, we're lucky we got that. Like that we're now our players are worth a ton, selling the whole fucking team. Zika and Kingen as the solo laners for VIPER's team, and the rumor is supposed to be Clid for jungle, and then I guess people are talking about potentially Barrel for support. Obviously, Kingen and Zika were insane at World. Kingen was mainly insane in the finals, and Zika was just like insane in the entire tournament. I'm not sure if they're going to be like in this form again, because in LCK they weren't in that form, right? Like in LCK they weren't top 3 in their roles. But yeah, I mean, I want to see how the HLE experiment works. I still wouldn't think that they would be better than a team like T1 though. Like when you look at their roster, okay, so their roster is going to be HLE, Kingen, Clid. I mean, it looks fucking good. I'm just wondering if it's going to be like the best team. Zika, VIPER, and Barrel. That's what they're looking for right now. No sale, but oh wait, they're all free agents. Okay, well then they just got DRX just got completely. I'm surprised that they only signed Zika to a 1-year contract because Zika just came from BLG, so they only signed Zika to a 1-year contract. I mean, guess that's the downside. I mean, the upside is that you could probably sign them for cheaper originally. So yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I really don't like Clid, by the way. I really don't like Clid. I watched him all year in LPL. I was not super impressed with him. Kind of like a Lee, like he's good on Lee Sin. He's I guess he's like fine. Like he's not going to lose you the game, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to compete with some of the better rosters. So this is HLE's roster. HLE, obviously, they broke the bank. They're looking for a really expensive, good roster. This is trying to be a LCK championship team, world championship team. I feel like this team is once again going to be a team that's like scarier in Worlds than they are going to be domestically in LCK. Like I would still, okay, so if you have like T1's roster, right? I actually just still think that T1 is a better team domestically. I mean, it's really going to come down to like the bot lane difference. But if Guma's playing at all like he was playing, you know, at Worlds, I mean, Guma played better than VIPER at Worlds. Hurts to say, but Guma was probably the best AD carry at Worlds, right? Like, I don't even think that's controversial. He played really, really well the entire time. I just don't know if HLE's roster is going to be competitive all split. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, there's a lot of, like, question marks. Like, maybe Zika had a breakthrough and he's in God mode. Like, maybe their mid and their bot are just always solid. This top jungle can lose you games, bro, for sure. Like, Owner Zeus, you've got Clid Kingen. I'm not sure. I don't know. Talk about Damwon's roster. Damwon's roster, I don't know if it's, let me see, is it official? Oh, full roster update. Okay, full roster update. So this is interesting. All right, so we have these rosters. Okay, Damwon's full roster was announced. It started with Kana. Kana did not, okay, it's really hard to know how good Kana is after that Nongshim experience because Nongshim was just bad. Like the entire year, they were just bad. Something clearly didn't click. And Kana was good in 2021, so I'm not going to say that he's like guaranteed dog. Obviously, he comes off like a split that's not great. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be like just bad. Like he might be solid. He might be able to just fit into a team like this. I mean, it's a lot easier to play with a good team than it is to play with, you know, a team that's clearly dysfunctional. Showmaker, and then here's the big one, Deft and Kellen. So when I look at this, right, Deft is essentially just Ghost on steroids. Deft is essentially just Ghost on steroids. So like when you think about the team identity, it seems like Damwon went the route of trying to get a superstar AD carry, like upcoming superstar, because if you remember last year, DuckDom was essentially Prince this year. That was the same narrative, right? It's the same type of thing where they're like, man, this guy's fucking insane. His team isn't that great. But when DuckDom was on Nongshim, he was considered one of the up-and-coming great AD carries. He was considered a top 2 AD carry in LCK. When he joined Damwon, it just didn't work. So I think that they just want a role-playing AD carry. They're like, okay, Deft is going to farm. He'll always be relevant. He knows how to team fight. He's not going to get caught. He's super consistent. He's smart about the game. We want somebody with that identity that just enables Canyon and Showmaker to just carry the game. They don't want to have to worry about like having to help bot, or like, is bot going to be like stable, or are they going to have issues? They're trying to just remove that. One of the things for Damwon that was an issue is obviously since Barrow left, their like overall like team fighting has gotten worse. It seems like their team fight decision making is not what it used to be. Maybe Kellen can go into that role. I haven't heard anything about Bible, who was their like sub support, the guy that subbed in that had that insane Amumu game. If he's still a sub, like maybe he could be interesting. I feel like Bible and Deft could be an interesting bot lane, but I mean, who knows, bro? Maybe that guy can only play Amumu. We'll see. I like this roster though. I like this roster more than the 2022 Damwon roster. 2023 Damwon I think will be better. Ruler had a verbal agreement but switched his decision last minute, according to some many Chinese Wooloos. Yeah, so this is the rumor right now. This is all unconfirmed, so I kind of like didn't want to talk about it too much. But this was a team that was supposed to be in the running for Ruler, and it seems like based off Ruler's last stream, so this was supposed to end up being not Deft. It was supposed to be Ruler, which I think is a scarier lineup on paper, but maybe in terms of like how Damwon's found success in the in past seasons, maybe Deft is a better fit for how Damwon want to play. So this was supposed to be the Ruler show, but apparently Ruler in his last stream, he cried and he said, "I'm going to China. I only wanted to stay in Gen.G if I could play in LCK." Okay, so this is going to be Deft. JDG roster. So JDG is going for a world championship, right? Like they're just trying to be as competitive as possible. So JDG's roster is supposed to be 369, Kanavi, Knight, Ruler, missing. This is a crazy roster, bro. This is a crazy roster. I mean, look, I thought Viper was the best AD carry in the world going into Worlds. I don't think he played like it at Worlds. At Worlds, Guma was probably the best AD carry in the world. But Ruler is the person that I had as the second best AD carry in the world. And I had him, and if you remember my reasoning, I said that Ruler and Viper were by far the best two AD carries in the world going into the World Championship. Like, whoever you want to have number one, number two, they're both extremely close in skill. So this team, bro, this team looks stacked. There's a couple things I want to talk about. Knight, this narrative about Knight being a choker based off like this last World Championship, that is the biggest load of bullshit I have heard in some time. Just because he's on a team where the team, like other people on the team choke or the team ends up underperforming, Knight did not choke at Worlds, bro. Like he was solid at Worlds. Like he maybe had one bad game out of the 6 games. Outside of that, he's solid. Like what is he supposed to do when his team has a Draven Nautilus Vi and they end up just diving, losing everything, and the guy he's laning against gets 2 kills. When he's up 10 CS in lane, he's doing better in the Zir Silas matchup than we saw other people do later on in the tournament. Knight being a choker is just some Reddit bullshit. It's just some narrative that, you know, people want to spew because he's like, it's just like when Chovy, if Chovy got like lost in groups, right? He's just one of those players that is known to be super hyped up. So if the results don't match, like he's supposed to be superhuman, he's supposed to carry the team no matter what. That's just not realistic in modern League of Legends. He's the LPL Chovy, where if his team underperforms, he's always going to get flack. Now, I do think Chovy kind of choked. I mean, Zika outperformed him heavily in semifinals. I don't think we got to see, like, maybe Knight would have choked in the future. We didn't get to see enough of Knight to make any judgment about, like, him being bad or, like, not being able to rise to the occasion. I mean, this guy was a solid fucking player in LPL. He's been one of the best mid laners in LPL for a while. Import jungle is obviously Kanavi. They said import jungler, and then import Xayah. The reason why DoNB uses these terms is because, you know, Kanavi's known for his Nidalee. Ruler obviously is a world skin on Xayah, known for his Xayah. So this is going to be the JDG roster. It looks insane. It looks insane. I mean, if this roster is just one that it looks like it's minimum semifinals of Worlds or it's a complete failure. One last thing to talk about. Damwon Kia announces Gorilla as their coach, which is pretty sick. I mean, he was one of the best minds of the game. You know, he played one of the best series. That part of the reason why people consider the Rocks Tigers versus T1 one of the best series ever is because of the like mind game dynamic that occurred in that series, where you had, you know, the misfortune pop up as a counter pick to Zyra, and then they both started playing it back and forth. It was just some like depth to the draft. So I wonder how this will go. I think Gorilla he always struggled with finding angles to engage, but in terms of just like being able to understand how the game should be played and play out leads. I mean, he was part of one of the most dominant teams in the world for a long stretch of that. So that's a sick signing. So that's a new coach, and then Acorn is going to be the head coach. But I think Acorn's going to be the head coach. So Acorn's going to be head coach. Acorn has more experience as being wait, is he going to be head coach? I guess it doesn't say here technically. No. Announces Acorn will be. Oh no, he is the head coach. Okay, so Acorn's going to be the head coach, and Gorilla's going to be like a positional coach. I don't think that really means anything, right? If one of the players or one of the coaches has better game knowledge, they're just going to be the one that is going to be strategic coach. They're going to have the most influence in terms of like what the team is playing, and that type of stuff. We saw it recently with Gen.G, right? Like Gen.G was the academy coach, and then he was like the assistant coach. Now he's just the fucking head coach. He just became pretty much the guy. So maybe Gorilla has a similar trajectory. Next thing is that Prince is joining FlyQuest. So Prince is joining FlyQuest. So we have pretty much all the rosters for NA pretty much completed, but FlyQuest roster is rumored to be Impact, Spica, Vikla, Prince, and who's support? I'm blanking. Oh, Ayla, right? That's kind of nuts. We'll talk about KT in a second. We'll do KT after this. But I just saw like the Prince thing that's #1 on Reddit. Prince is supposed to be on this team. This is a crazy thing, bro. Prince in NA, #1, it feels kind of bad because Prince is one of those 80 carries where he has a lot of promise. Maybe he goes the same way as DuckDom, where he has like the insane hype and then he joins like a really good team. Maybe he joins a team that's supposed to be like top 3, top 4, and he underperforms. But Prince is supposed to be like, I mean, he was the guy in LCK after Ruler, right? If you watched LCK during the split, obviously Guma performed super well in Worlds. If you watched LCK during summer, Prince was considered the second best 80 carry in all of LCK. Who was Vikla? He played for KT, right? I believe he played for KT. Yeah, he played for KT last split. So I've heard bad things about him from people that watched every single game of LCK. I didn't watch that much KT because I d't really enjoy watching KT. I just didn't think they were that competitive. But I didn't think this guy was bad. When I watched him, I didn't think he was bad. Some people, like, I know Forrest has been tweeting out saying that Vikla was just maybe he's bad, but I think for NA standards, he's going to be really solid. So FlyQuest roster looks fucking stacked. And Prince, I mean, I can't imagine 80 carries 80 carries in NA being able to match up versus Prince. I mean, there's going to be some cool fucking matchups in North America, dude. Prince versus Berserker is going to exist in North America. How is that a thing? How is Prince versus Berserker? Like, look at C9, right? Like, let's just compare this to C9 roster. I mean, this actually looks like it would be really fucking fun to watch. I mean, the more that I'm hearing about these NA teams, dude, I'm actually pretty hyped for NA. Even though, like, LCS is probably not going to do super well at Worlds or anything like that, like, the NA rosters actually look better this split than they did before. TL's roster is apparently done. Harry, Yeon, Core JJ. Full Korean lineup. Not sure about this, right? This is a very strange one. The main thing is right? was I don't know, bro. He was on Bro last year. Giga Chad, bro. Nice, whatever. I mean, he's old for Korean standards. I don't think he was very good, man. I don't think he was very good. Every time I tuned in, he was kind of just getting on. But maybe his team was just garbage. So who the fuck knows? Still, like these are the rosters that should be competitive. You're starting with Tenacity. Who else are in the competitive tier? EG. And this actually is looking pretty good, man. This actually is looking pretty good. I mean, when you're looking at this, man, like this is already 5 like good rosters. Like these are all rosters that are expected to go to Worlds. And if they don't go to Worlds, they're all going to feel like failures. That's so much better than it's been previously. This has been so much better than it's been previously. Like when you looked at last year, right? C9's roster was like a question mark, but people thought it would be decent. The old 100 Thieves roster was pretty boring. You didn't expect them to be much better because you'd already seen them play for a year. EG's roster was a big question mark because you didn't know how JoJo was going to turn out. He obviously turned out to be insane, but couldn't know that for sure. TL's roster was mega hype. I mean, that was pretty much it, right? There was 4 rosters that were hype. And now you have 5. Oh, and then Dig's roster. Yeah, and then we have Dig. You actually have 6, bro. It's crazy. Who's top lane for Dig? Oh, it's Armoot. Yeah. I don't know, bro. This seems like by far like the worst out of all these rosters. Dude, I forgot about Armoot, man. I forgot about Armoot. That's an import I don't like. I just feel like he's so limited. And honestly, like his options were ERLs are here. Armoot, bro. KT. All right, let's talk KT. The big signing that they got, the one that people care about most, is the signing of Keen, right? Keen has been in the freak hell for a long period of time, no longer in that hell. Now I want to see, do we know what jungler KT's going to play with? Are they going to run it back with Cuz? Because like when I look, wow, Cuz, okay, whatever. I didn't mean that. When you look at this roster and you look at the carry positions, aiming was solid. Aiming's been good, right? He's kind of like Zico, where he was good in LPL. Aiming's been good. I think he was third team, right? If I'm not mistaken, LCK awards were first team was Ruler, 80 carry. Second team was Prince. Third team was Aiming. Bro, everyone's on the Deft and Guma hype because of Worlds. That's not how it looked at LCK. Aiming was really fucking solid. So now that you have a roster of BDD, Keen, and Aiming, those are your main players. It's really not a bad roster. It's solid. It's one of those rosters where I guess it'll be like expected to probably be like 5th, 6th until we see more of BDD and what form he's in, because last year was obviously a bad year for him. But I mean, that roster could end up being top 3. When you look at LCK, T1, everyone's going to have them top 3. People are probably just automatically going to have HLE top 3, super team. And then people are going to have Damwon top 3. That's probably the expected top 3 coming out of LCK. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with Gen.G? I don't know Gen.G's roster. I'm not familiar with like leaks or anything like that. All I know is I follow Gen.G Arnold, who's CEO, and he tweeted out that there was a problem with professional League of Legends where you can't make enough money per year to keep up, to like keep your franchise, right? To keep your spot or your star players on your franchise. I mean, they just signed Delight, which means that Lehens is going somewhere else. We already know that Ruler is going to JDG. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Chovy. I don't know where Chovy would go if he's not on Gen.G. I don't know what other team would make sense for him to go, because you assume that Chovy's going to be on like a top 4 roster, right? He's always on the top 4 roster. Even if he has to drag them to top 4, he's going to be on a decent roster, right? So who else is going to be on the team? Goran, Peanut, Chovy, Pays, Delight. Yeah, everyone's been hyping up Pays. I don't know anything about, like, he's coming from Gen.G Challengers, right? I have no idea about Pays. I have no clue how good it'll be.